Does the Eckers 30-06 and other older bolt-action rifles still hold their own in the Hunter Call of the Wild? Well, the quick answer is yes. They're still good guns. I've had a lot of people ask me if these guns are still usable, and yes, the addition of the 308 AR does make that rifle a little bit of a better choice, but it by no means makes these rifles useless. They're still good guns, and you can still kill quite a few deer with them in a quick amount of time. As you guys just saw, we were able to take 3 out of this one herd before they fleed, and honestly, a lot of people aren't really going to worry about one extra deer too much. Now, with me being the, I guess, perfectionist grinder that I am, I want to make sure I'm using the most efficient rifle possible, so I personally tend to use the 308 AR, but you can still have a lot of fun and a lot of success with rifles like the Eckers 30-06. And honestly, for that reason alone, I think it is a pretty awesome option that they've added into the game, because even with these semi-automatic rifles, we can still have a lot of success with the older bolt-action rifles, and I think that is one of the great things about how some of the 4 to 8 class rifles are in Call of the Wild. A lot of them still stack up even with things like semi-automatic ARs actually being added into the game. You can still have plenty of success with these older rifles that were added 1, maybe even 2 years ago. They still stack up quite well, especially on certain species like the red deer, where you're not going to be seeing quite as many close together. Okay, so I messed up bad. I forgot to press record again. I had to stop recording and go get a couple things done, get some lunch and stuff like that. And I came back and forgot to press record again. So, yeah, I missed a diamond. Well, it wasn't a diamond, but I shot a level 3 whitetail, and yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording, so you guys aren't going to get to see that, but it trolled anyway. It was a 248. But anyway, we're hunting red deer now, so we're going to try the 30-06 out on them. I don't even remember what I talked about during the time that I forgot to record, so I guess we'll try to talk about what I can remember, but I really don't remember everything I went over, so that's unfortunate. So I think we're going to blast a few of these fallow before we head on to the red deer, since we missed out on some of the whitetail, considering I forgot to record, which, yeah, my bad there. But one of the reasons that I really just don't understand why so many people thought the ARs were going to break the game and just take over all of the other rifles is because even with the bolt actions, you can still do stuff like this pretty effectively and take out a lot of deer. Like, they're still good rifles. They've just got slightly less round capacity and also a slightly slower fire rate, but it doesn't make them completely obsolete. I don't know why so many people thought that it would. These rifles are definitely still very usable, and they're still great for species that are spaced out a little bit like this, and so is the 303. In fact, I like the 303 slightly more than I do the 30-06, but since the 30-06 is a lot of people's favorite bolt-action rifle, I decided we'd use that one today. But there is a lot of fallow deer around here, and even with a rifle like this, you can still take them out pretty quickly and take out the vast majority of them before anything spooks off. Looks like we're not going to be able to get an angle on that nice 4, but we will take this guy out instead. And this one. And I think that 4 was right there. We can maybe get him, we'll try, but it's going to be kind of difficult. Well, we hit him, and it is a vital hit. Yeah, this is still a pretty awesome rifle, even with the competition from the 308. Now, me personally, I'll still use the 308 just because I've always wanted a 308 in the game. It's been my dream rifle to have in Call of the Wild, so I'm personally going to use it a lot more than other rifles, but it's more for the fact that it's a fantastic grinding weapon, and also because it's 308, so that's my main reasons for choosing that over other rifles. But if you prefer the bolt-action rifles, you can still do really well with them. You don't have to choose an AR just because it's a little bit faster. If you prefer to use the bolt-action rifles, they still stack up very nicely, as you guys are seeing right now. They're still great guns. They just have a slightly, I guess, lower kill rate. You aren't gonna get quite as many deer down in a faster, or in a quick amount of time. But they're still great. They still do awesome. And the 30-06 round is still a fantastic round. As we can see here, it goes pretty much all the way through the deer, getting a nice double lung at 215 meters. Does plenty well on fallow deer and whitetail and everything around that size, clear up to red deer. And even at a much longer range, the 30-06 round still stacks up pretty nicely, as we can see here. It's always been a great round ever since it was introduced. I remember back when this first got added, this was one of the most requested calibers, and then after the 30-06 got added, everybody was requesting the 308, and now that we finally got that, I'm curious what the most requested caliber is going to be from here on out. I know a lot of people love the 375. I personally would prefer to see a 416 or a 460 instead. I think both of those would be awesome additions, mainly just because I've got so many good memories of playing the old Cabela's games and using the 416 and the 460. A lot of the old Cabela's games had those rifles in them, and they were always so much fun to use, but a lot of people seem to prefer the 375, so it's hard to say which rifle they would actually go with when it comes to like a big game rifle, I guess geared towards the African game a little bit more. If we ever get an Africa 2, I would not be surprised if we see a rifle like that, considering how highly requested the 375 is. You know, I would say this is a pretty good red deer stag to start off with. Let's zero up to 300 meters and try to get this guy right in the lungs. That should do plenty fine right there, and it's already losing HP. Now, the 30-06 and the 308 from my testing are pretty much identical in kill time, so you really aren't going to see too much of a difference when it comes to like single herd stags like this, or I guess single stag herds, which tends to be what most herds are, is between 1 and 3, maybe 4 at the most for stags. So I really feel like red deer grinding is where you will really see the least amount of difference between this and the AR. It definitely is a much more viable option to use one of the bolt actions on red deer, because lots of times you'll have not a ton of them close together, so you actually get time to shoot multiple targets before they run off. I think this right here will probably be a great way to show that off, just the fact that we can most likely take out the good majority of stags that are in this herd. Now, they are facing me, which is not going to help at all, so we're going to have to work around that, but other than that, I think we managed to get 2 of them. In fact, that one actually wasn't even vitals. Unfortunately, this was some terrible angling for these stags, and we even have 5 here, which is more than I typically have at this zone, so that's pretty cool. That one looked like a good shot, and it definitely was, so we got a couple of them. Nowhere near what I was aiming for, though, because of the weird angling of these deer. They were just facing us, which made it very difficult to get some good shots. We got a solid neck shot on the first one, but after that, it was really difficult to get any follow-up shots into them, just because they weren't giving us any good angles. So this is the first one that we took out with that solid neck shot, and we actually got lower neck and middle neck with it. This is probably my favorite rack for the level 7s, or one of them at least. This is a very solid looking red deer rack. Still crazy that it scores so low. I've never understood the way they score the red deer. It really does not make a lot of sense. I'd like to see some changes to that in the future. Hopefully one of these days we'll get some better scoring for red deer. But let's try to track down the second one. It was definitely a good shot. As we saw, we had vital blood, and it started losing HP pretty quickly, so it's got to be a double lung if I were to guess. I couldn't see this being anything less, and wow, it's actually stomach liver. Okay, well, or stomach liver left lung. That's basically the same kill time as a double lung, maybe a little bit quicker even, but I mean, either way, that is a pretty decent shot on that red deer. Well, Mika, if you are watching this video, yes, I am real. This is the real Scarecrow that joined into the session that you were in. Just figured I'd add that in there, since sometimes it can be hard to verify whether it's the real crow, but if you guys are ever in a game with me and you're not sure if it's the real Scarecrow, easiest way is to just send me a quick message on Discord and ask if I'm currently in a session of multiplayer, and I mean, I'll always respond to those and tell you whether or not I am, so that is the easiest way to verify whether or not it's the real Scarecrow or if it's a fake. So I think before we move around the rest of this lake, let's go ahead and take out this Gemsbok. I just want to see how quickly it'll take them down, because I have not shot a Gemsbok with the 30-06 in a very long time. Typically I use the 300 or the 338, so let's see how this does. I got a feeling it'll be pretty solid, but not nearly as great as the 300, and yeah, it does seem to be the case. It's still pretty good, though. I mean, it's killing it fast enough. Yeah, this thing died pretty quickly, and I'm going to assume it's double lung. Oh yeah, had plenty of penetration to get that double lung. Very, very nice. So I guess it does a lot better than I thought it did on Gemsbok. Like I said, it's been so long since I've used it on them, I really was not sure if it was going to be comparable, or I guess not comparable, but at least close enough to the 300 to where you could justify using it over that, and I guess it really does do pretty decent on them. Ooh, there we go. That is a solid looking wildebeest. That is a beautiful wildebeest. Let's actually try a longer range shot on this guy. Now, we are going to 0 to 300 meters, so we're going to have to aim slightly low, but I think this should do plenty well on this guy. Let's just lower our aim a tiny bit, and that should be vitals. It definitely is. Beautiful. That is a solid wildebeest. Now, for those of you that don't know, the max weight estimates like that one, they do have a small chance of making diamond at level 4, so it's always worth shooting as many of them as you can. That is super awesome. Hopefully this thing will actually make it. You know, oddly enough, I feel like the 30-06 actually killed a little bit slower on the wildebeest than it did with the Gemsbok. It really seems that way, at least. I'm almost positive that it killed a little bit slower, but I suppose we'll find out very shortly because it should be just up here, but it really seems like it's losing HP much slower. Although that could just be because we shot it at a farther range and might not have even got double lung like we did on the Gemsbok. So I guess we'll have to pick this up and see. I think it's probably going to be a single lung, which would explain why it died slower, but let's just see if this is a diamond. Really hope it is. It's a diamond! Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? We finally got a diamond level 4! We've gone so long without getting a diamond level 4. Like, I have shot so many of these things, and they have just been gold after gold after gold after gold. Finally, we got a level 4 to make diamond after this update. That is awesome. That is super awesome. We almost hit a little too high even. We did manage to clip the vertebrae, which is not what you want to do. That's very risky, but it somehow paid off and we managed to nail ourselves a really nice diamond blue wildebeest. That is awesome. That is super awesome. Well, honestly, I think that's as good of a note to end it on as any, and also, huge shout out to everybody in the chat because, everybody in this session has been pretty awesome. Thank you guys for watching the channel. I really appreciate it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, click that like button, and ring that notification bell. And also, while you're at it, subscribe to the second channel as well. I do some more IRL style content on there, including like Pokemon card openings, sports card openings. I plan to eventually put some IRL fishing on there as well, and possibly IRL hunting. But I'm not 100% sure about that since there's been some issues with YouTubers doing IRL hunting content, but we'll see. We'll try to get that type of stuff on there. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a comment down below and let me know what you would like me to do in future videos. I've got some more ideas that I'd like to do for, I guess, some more kind of like throwback videos using some older weapons that used to be what everybody used. Stuff like the Mosin and stuff like the 30-06 a little bit more. Let me know what you guys would like to see, and I'll try to do as many of the ideas that you guys have as possible. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace!